All right, welcome back to the channel. So, Gervonta Tank Davis versus Leo Santa Cruz is about to happen, as was announced by Gervonta Tank Davis, and thereafter, Mike Coppinger, man, that is hilarious. But let's talk about that fight, man. I'm happy about this fight. And I think this could be a good fight for Tank, man, and a really bad fight for Leo Santa Cruz. But it sorts some things out in the, I guess this is going to be a lightweight division and in the PBC. So let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. So, Gervonta Tank Davis is taking on his second big name opponent in 2 fights. If you're not familiar with Gervonta Tank Davis, I know you guys are familiar with Gervonta Tank Davis, but got to do it just in case there's somebody out there watching the video for the first time that doesn't know who Tank is. Tank is the former IBF 130-pound champion. He is also the former WBA 130-pound champion, and he is currently a secondary champion at 135 pounds, holding the WBA regular title. Vasily Lomachenko is the actual champion, the WBA champion, who holds the WBA super belt. But what Gervonta Davis is at 135 pounds is he is the biggest, you know, he's the cash man, he's the money man at 135 pounds. And you've seen this throughout his career, you know, definitely throughout his career, ever since he won the title, man. The guy is selling out. He sells out in Carson, California. He's selling out arenas in Baltimore. He's selling them out in Las Vegas. I mean, excuse me, in Atlanta. I think he also might have done one. I think he also might have sold out in New York as well. So the guy is a very, very big draw, and you can tell it from the numbers that he has in the his viewership numbers are very, very solid on Showtime, especially for a guy that's at 130 pounds, because those usually are not the big, you know, those usually aren't the big attraction type of guys. But so as a result, there's a lot of people in everybody at 135 pounds wants to fight Tank. Devin Haney wants to fight Tank. Lomachenko wants to fight Tank. I haven't heard Teofimo Lopez say anything about Tank, but I suppose that he would want to as well. But he's kind of busy trying to set up this fight with Vasily Lomachenko to try to knock off Vasily Lomachenko. So that's the story of Gervonta Davis, but it seems as if he's going to be fighting a guy that would be coming up in weight, the former 120. He's the current, I think he might be the WBA 130-pound champion, Leo Santa Cruz. I'm not sure if that is the super championship or if it's the regular championship. You know, with all this boxing stuff, man, you got to be, man, they got so many different championship belts per sanctioning body that it gets, you know, kind of confusing at a point in time. But he was definitely the WBA 126-pound champion, and who just recently moved up to 130. I'm not sure if this fight with Tank is going to be at 130 or if it was going to be 135. But seeing as Tank is the money man, and Tank already has, you know, has some little shadiness to his weight, to his weigh-in game, more than likely it's going to be at 135 pounds. And Leo Santa Cruz is going to be more than willing to move up there to do that. But Leo Santa Cruz, again, this is the before these fights with Yuriorkis Gamboa was the last guy that Tank fought. People thought for some reason that he underperformed against Yuriorkis Gamboa because the fight didn't go the distance. It was a knockout in the 11th round, but Yuriorkis Gamboa was hurt at some point in time in that fight, and because he was hurt, it took Gervonta Davis a little bit longer than it usually does to knock somebody out. So some people say that he underperformed. I personally don't think he did, because he really never got. You know, he got a couple 2-piece combinations landed on him by Yuriorkis Gamboa, but nothing that really hurt him. Nothing that was really, you know, like a consistent thing. And I thought Gervonta Davis dominated that fight. But this fight with Leo Santa Cruz, despite the size difference, right, which I don't believe really is that great. Leo Santa Cruz was probably stayed at 126 a lot longer than he had to stay at 126. So I think he probably is a 130 pounder. Gervonta Davis is not a big 135 pounder. So, you know, the size difference, you know, like the height and the size and all that stuff match up really well. I think that this fight for Gervonta Davis should be a very, very good fight, and it'll be an entertaining fight because Leo Santa Cruz is a guy that's gonna, I mean, he's not messing around, man. He comes right at you. He's not somebody he's not gonna bait and feint and do all that stuff with Gervonta Davis. He's gonna more than likely come to fight Gervonta Davis. Now that's his personality in the ring. Now, if Gervonta Davis wasn't the big money guy, there would be no way Leo Santa Cruz would be fighting him because Leo Santa Cruz has a very solid reputation for ducking fighters, man. Ducking Guillermo Rigondeaux, ducking Gary Russell Jr., who's the 126 the WBC 126 pound champion. I mean, Gary Russell Jr. Ducks people so dang on blatantly, man. It's ridiculous. But the style matchup in this fight for Gervonta Tank Davis should be a good and interesting fight. Now, I do want to say though also that Gary Russell Jr. that just because Leo Santa Cruz ducked Guillermo Rigondeaux and he ducked Gary Russell Jr., that doesn't make me think that Leo Santa Cruz is not a very good fighter, right? The guys that he did beat, he beat solid fighters. Abner Mares is a solid fighter. Abner Mares, interestingly enough, was the guy that was supposed to fight Gervonta Davis. Now that Gervonta Davis is moving into like the more of the named fighters, right? But he caught an eye injury. I personally think he thought a little bit better of that fight, man, because man, I swear, Gervonta Davis was going to absolutely blitzkrieg Abner Mares, man. That was going to be something ugly. That fight was going to be so ugly. I was shocked that they were going to make it, and I wasn't surprised at all when Abner Mares pulled out of this. But the Leo Santa Cruz fight, this is going to be something where it's going to test Tank. Leo Santa Cruz is a fighter that is very, very busy, man. I mean, he throws punches and punches and punches and punches. Now, he does telegraph his punches a good bit with that little, he's got this little nervous habit where after every time he throws a punch, he shakes his hand, he shakes his glove like that. My thought is that, in the middle of one of those shakes, he's going to get a nasty, nasty straight left hand from Gervonta Davis. So I picked Gervonta Davis to win this fight. I think it's going to be a later round. It's going to be a later round stoppage. Gervonta Davis is not somebody that is just going to willy-nilly run in there and throw bombs with people, man. You can see that in the Francisco Fonseca fight. You can see it in the Yuriokis Gamboa fight. He is a calculating fighter, right? And so he's not somebody that is just going to run in there willy-nilly, exchange bombs with people. So I do believe that he's going to use footwork on the outside to kind of gauge and measure Leo Santa Cruz until he can time Leo Santa Cruz with straight left hands, hooks to the body. Once he gets on the inside with Leo Santa Cruz, Leo Santa Cruz is going to be done because Gervonta Davis's defense to offense, in my opinion, is just one of the best in boxing. So I'm looking forward to the fight because this is another named opponent that Gervonta Davis is fighting. Not that I believe that this is a top level fight. I don't. Now they said that this fight's going to be on pay-per-view. Man, I don't know why, man, because, more than likely I'll pay for it because I do like supporting fighters in their pay-per-view ventures. But, man, a 135-pound pay-per-view fight for me just sounds like, you better have a very, very, very strong undercard, man, to get somebody to pay $75 to watch Gervonta Davis beat up Leo Santa Cruz. I think that's a calculated. Now, these guys are going to know what their numbers are, right? But it's just really hard for me to see it, man. It's hard for me to see that doing well on pay-per-view. Now, after Gervonta Davis dispatches of Leo Santa Cruz, I would now then be looking to say, all right, man, now let's get in there against somebody we think might actually have a chance to beat Gervonta Davis. I personally think Lomachenko is going to be gone by that time. Obviously, I could be wrong. You know, I'm taking the underdog route with Teofimo Lopez and Vasily Lomachenko just because of, you know, the history of Top Rank and the fact that Top Rank ain't just going to throw away Teofimo Lopez for no reason. And I think that's a very dangerous matchup for Vasily Lomachenko, for that young, very, very strong fighter. So I don't think Lomachenko is going to be there. And Tank, I don't know how long Teofimo Lopez is going to be there. I think more than likely they're kind of wait out. Mayweather and them are kind of wait out some of those guys at 135 pounds, some of the bigger 135 pounders. I think ultimately the big fight for Gervonta Davis should be Shakur Stevenson, who's down at 126 pounds, but he's a young kid and will easily move up into the lightweight division. I think that is a really good matchup. You know, what is it? Contrasts and styles, both extremely, extremely talented. And I would love to, I think that's the big fight down the road for Gervonta Davis, while the Teofimo Lopez's and the Devin Haney's, those guys are more than likely going to be at 140 pounds, 147 pounds. But anyway, that's my take on it. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.